Okay, would you guys mind not using our faces, voices, or likenesses to make money without... Of course not. The ethical and moral implications of such a thing would be bafflingly antagonistic. Okay, great. So if you could just sign this contract... No.
All right, so Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio. And also, in addition to that, this clip was from Joe Ziaja. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But anyways, you can see it right here as far as his YouTube channel. And I would definitely check out this video as it goes into what we're about to talk about today in this segment. But this specific skit I had to include because this nails it on the head. So with that being said, Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio.
Do want to steal the method by which we make our livelihood and teach artificial intelligence to use them so you could replicate them without our permission or compensation? Well, that would be ridiculous. Nobody wants that. I certainly would be upset if a robot tried to take my job. Amazing. Then we're in agreement. If you could just put that in the contract, absolutely not. But you're promising that you won't do it? Yes, of course. So you could just put it in the... No. But we need it in writing if we're not going to happen. You realize that a promise in written form is just called a contract. Snowball's chance in hell. Guess that means we're gonna have to go on strike. Now, why on earth would you be so unreasonable?
The issue for the...
And then, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we stand today as the biggest issue with this overall debacle is the use of artificial intelligence, which of course is AI. And of course, when it comes to employees not wanting to have their likeness just straight up ripped by AI to use on whatever project without getting proper compensation. You would think that the video game companies will obviously sign a contract saying that we won't steal your likeness and use AI to basically rip you off. But guess what? Obviously, that was not the case, as this started back in July 26, 2024, and it is still going on in November 2024. So as far as the actual statement that they put out, basically SAG-AFTRA announced that interactive media agreement negotiations with employers would continue. So everybody was thinking that, of course, they'll just come to some type of middle ground. You know, they will basically understand that they are both very important to the process. So let's just come to some sort of a agreement and just meet in the middle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that did not happen, as they said that the negotiations would continue. And of course, it includes Activision Productions, Blind Light LLC, Disney Character Voices, Electronic Art Productions, Formosa Interactive, Insomniac Games. That was the big one for me. I mean, maybe this is tied to the reason why we're probably not going to get any DLC for Spider-Man 2. But anyways, let's keep going. Llama Productions, Take-Two Productions, and WB Games. And of course, they put out a statement saying that SAG-AFTRA strike against all signatories, I think that's how you say it, to the interactive media agreement began in July and remains in effect, with the exception of games signed to the tiered budget independent interactive media agreement, or an interim, I don't think that's interim, that's interim interactive media agreement. And they basically said no further comment at this time. So obviously this strike is nearing the 100-day mark. And with that being said, maybe it's even past that. I think that was dated back in October 23rd. So I don't know if it's past 100 days, but basically it's been a long time, right? And the companies that I just read off, I mean, you have Disney, you have EA, Insomniac, Take-Two, WB, the big dogs of the gaming industry. So this is going to have some type of effect on video games. And like I just said with Spider-Man, I mean, Insomniac Games are the ones who develop the Spider-Man games. And there's been recent news that we may not be getting any DLC for Spider-Man 2. Now, of course, I'm not tying that directly to the strike, but it is seeming like Spider-Man 2 will not be getting any DLC. So I think the reason for that is probably because, one, everything got leaked from Insomniac, and that's a whole nother debacle. If you look up Insomniac Analytic Dreamz, my segment on that will pop up. Insomniac definitely was being ran through the ringer, as if all the your future developments are getting leaked, and then the voice actor for Venom passes away, as far as Tony Todd, RIP to him, then one could assume that puts significant setbacks on the production for the DLC and future games. So with all that being considered, that is why I'm saying that there probably will be no DLC for Spider-Man 2. So I think I saw that somewhere because I was wanting to look that up because I don't want to, definitely can't be spreading fake news over here. So Spider-Man DLC. Okay, I think they came out with, okay, so yeah, they said they're not putting out any DLC on Spider-Man 2 because they want to focus on Wolverine and then Spider-Man 3. So yeah, I didn't just make that up because I was just making sure that people wasn't just, yeah, okay. All right, because that's a pretty big deal. I don't know if people actually know that. But why is this not replay? Okay, back to what I was saying. So yeah, so that's a huge deal. I'm not sure if y'all was aware of that, but yeah, there's no DLC coming out for Spider-Man 2. But anyways, back to the strikes, right? So all of the companies that I just stated, they essentially are acting the same way as far as the skit that I played at the beginning of the segment. The proposal is basically centered around AI and sticking to the point that AI's role in creating voice and motion capture replicas without enforceable protections cannot happen, right? That's what the contract is about. And then the other proposals are basically AI being, AI is a part of all of the other 25 proposals. So as far as the main issue, it's just AI. I mean, the actors went on strike. That's why a lot of the movies was pushed back. And now, when we're seeing the video game actors and voice actors going on strike, we're basically seeing that a lot of people are going to be affected with this type of stoppage of work. And that is the main point of going on strike. Because even though they said that interim employees can still work, that is basically over the independent side of gaming, I would say. Because it's like 120 games from 49 companies that is signed to the interim agreements because they basically were proceeding under SAG-AFTRA's preferred terms. So that means that they are good to go as far as people working for them. Because if you don't know, if you go on strike and then somebody in the club ends up getting some big role or whatever, and that's essentially because everybody's going on strike, but you're the one that branched out to get the bag, forgetting the reason that you're going on strike in the first place. Whenever they do negotiate and come to an agreement, I'm not going to say you're going to be outcasted, but essentially you're going to be looked at and outcast by your peers, which may be even worse than being outcast by the industry, because then a big name actor could look at your name, say, this person tried to step out while we was going on strike. I don't want to work with him. And guess what? Now you can't find a job. That happens all the time. So anyways, with the strike, 98.32% of SAG-AFTRA members have authorized this strike. And then when it comes to the union, there has been some pushback, as 98% is not 100. Critics have argued that SAG-AFTRA's handling has isolated workers by approving deals in secrecy and not enforcing contract terms. So, of course, when it comes to a union, not everybody is going to agree. If that was the case, then we would have world peace. But obviously, that is not the case. Whenever you get some sort of foundation as far as a union, not everybody is going to agree, but that is okay as long as y'all can come to some sort of understanding that's pushing the overall genre forward, or the overall purpose of the reason why y'all came together for it. So people are probably wondering, what does this mean for the future of gaming? Well, most games have already been released and have mostly been unaffected by them going on strike. But new or pre-production video games will indefinitely face delays. Now, of course, Disney, EA Productions, Insomniac Games, Take-Two, WB Games, Activision, and others are a part of this strike. So as far as Black Ops 6, the reason why that was able to come out because it was already finished, right? But now, future installments of Call of Duty may be affected for the simple fact that this strike is happening. Future sports game, because everybody knows EA is basically the king of sports right now. I mean, Madden, college football, FC, as far as the soccer video game, that could be affected. So there's a broader implication here, and I'm so surprised a lot more people aren't really focusing on how much of a big deal this is, because similar strikes have happened in the entertainment industry, like the Writers Guild of American strike. And then you had the actors going on strike, and all of that dropped the production down, basically eliminated a lot of the movies and TV shows that were set to come out and be people's favorites. So when strikes happen, and more specifically, the strikes that I just talked about as far as the writers and the actors, LA film production dropped 5% in the summer of 2024, adding to concerns about job losses and the union's future strategy. So when people go on strike, the ramifications aren't really seen till years in advance. It's like the pandemic. In 2020, we was all isolated. Well, supposedly we were supposed to be isolated. And then 2 to 3 years after, we saw the ramification of COVID. A lot of shortages, a lot of unfortunate events when it came to hospitals going over capacity and having to do certain things to get back under capacity. I don't want to get to the specifics. I'm not trying to be morbid, but things of this magnitude have such future ramifications that we probably don't see it right now, but this is probably going to be one of the biggest turns in gaming, not gaming history, but it's definitely going to affect a lot of people's favorite games. And I just hope people put more credence on that, which is why I'm reporting on this continuing. Because if you look at Video Game Strike Analytic Dreamz, I've already talked about this. It's apparent that I talk about it again because it's still continuing, and it seems like we haven't received any type of continuation as far as a solution. So hopefully they found a solution, but the right solution, of course. I don't want them to just come to a solution where it's like, okay, we don't want to hold out no more. You can have our rights, right? I just want them to come to a solution to where their rights are being considered and they're not being replicated by AI and completely ripped off without any compensation. So with that being said, click my link tree in my bio and let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about SAG-AFTRA continuing the strike for the video game industry? And at the end of the day, how long do you think this video game strike will end up going until it reaches a conclusion?